Archaeological excavations by the Israel Antiquities Authority have uncovered remains of the walls of Jerusalem dating back to the First Temple period in the section that protected the city from the east. David Catalunya, Doctor of Musicology, has started a 5-year project on a unique organ, probably the oldest in the world. It was discovered in Bethlehem in the Basilica of the Nativity at the beginning of the 20th century. After the easing of pandemic-related precautionary measures in the Holy Land, many faithful gathered with great enthusiasm in Haifa to celebrate the feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Inside the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre, an altar is dedicated to a special event narrated in the fourth Gospel, the meeting of the risen Jesus with Mary Magdalene. On Thursday the 22nd of July, the friars of the Custody of the Holy Land celebrated the feast dedicated to the Apostle of the Apostles. A delegation from the Real Madrid Foundation, led by its vice president Iker Casillas, met on the 20th of July with the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, His Beatitude Monsignor Pierbattista Pizzaballa. Together with the Patriarchate schools, for 9 years the Foundation has been promoting the education and growth of children in the Holy Land through sport. Wake up and Christ will enlighten you. The chronicle in pictures of the most important moments of the general chapter of the Friars Minor in 2021. Archaeological excavations by the Israel Antiquities Authority have brought to light some remains of the city walls built during the Iron Age, dating back to the period of the First Temple in the Kingdom of Judah. This is the section that protected Jerusalem from the east. We are located on the eastern side of the City of David National Park. Here we found a new part of the walls of Jerusalem dating from the First Temple period. The newly discovered section connects two previously excavated sections on the eastern side. In the 1960s, the British archaeologist Kathleen Kenyon discovered a section of wall from the period of the Kingdom of Judah in the northern part. About a decade later, archaeologist Yigal Shiloh discovered a long section of wall in excavations on the southern side. However, over the years there have been suspicions that these finds were all part of the First Temple period walls. Between these two sections there is a difference in height of 70 meters. Over the years we were never able to find the connection between these two sections. Then, in this very place, we found a further section of wall, so today I can say definitively that we have before us the walls of Jerusalem that date back to the end of the First Temple period between the 8th and 6th centuries BC, and so we can trace for about 200 meters the section that followed these walls. The height of the walls is about 3 meters and their width is about 5 meters. The walls protected Jerusalem from a series of attacks during the reign of the kings of Judah, until the arrival of the Babylonians, who managed to break through them and conquer the city. In the second book of Kings, there is a description of the Babylonian conquest of the city. So the whole army of the Chaldeans, who were with the captain of the guard, demolished the walls all around Jerusalem. It seems that the Babylonians stormed the city from the north, thus destroying the eastern walls. Because of the steepness of the eastern slope, with an angle of over 30 degrees, I don't think any army would have attacked the city from that direction. Traces of the great fire that devoured Jerusalem and of the destruction wrought by the Babylonians can be seen in the building that stood next to the wall, discovered during previous excavations. Storage vessels which were destroyed when the building burned and collapsed were discovered, with rose-shaped moulded handles associated with the last years of the Kingdom of Judah. Right here where we are standing, we found a seal inscribed with the Judean name Tsafan. We also found a Babylonian seal a few inches from the Judean inscription. On the seal, we see a figure standing in front of the symbols of two Babylonian gods. The first is Marduk, a famous Babylonian deity, and the second is Nabu, also a famous Babylonian deity. These archaeological finds were discovered on the very days when the Jewish calendar commemorates the destruction of the temple, the 9th of the month of Av, Tisha B'Av. A researcher, historian and specialist in the Middle Ages, Spaniard David Catalunya began his study of this unique organ, probably the oldest in the world, as well as of the carillon of bells. The doctor in musicology came to Jerusalem to deepen his research on this exceptional 12th century instrument discovered by archaeologists in Bethlehem in the Basilica of the Nativity at the beginning of the 20th century and preserved in Jerusalem by the Franciscans. This unique organ is a historical discovery. For researchers, a real opportunity to fill a gap of almost 5 centuries in Christian history.
This is the only organ from the period that has been preserved in an incredible state of preservation. So the history of this organ probably was that it was brought to the Holy Land by the French Crusaders, and it was used for nearly 1 century at the Nativity Church until one of those Muslim invasions in the late 12th century. So the organ was removed in order to protect them from devastation, and possibly with the hope that one day it could be used again. The instrument is really like frozen in time because it was possibly interred underground in a wooden case in order to protect it. So I am absolutely amazed to see that these pipes could have been made yesterday. Here we have the opportunity to really understand much more about the medieval history of the organ and technology in general and church culture. And we also have an opportunity to understand how these instruments were made in order to replicate them and bring their sound alive again.
Introduced into the liturgy of the Latin Church in the 10th century, the organ is a very important artifact in Western culture. However, until this discovery, we had no material evidence of the early development of organs in the church before the 15th century.
This is very close to the origins of this musical and technological tradition. And that's why it is so important to study and to understand how the organ became introduced into the church and then adapted to the needs of the Latin rituals inside the church. So the instrument got transformed, and that's what we are studying.
In collaboration with the custody of the Holy Land, this study should also deepen our knowledge on the musical history of the Middle Ages.
Cet orgue sera présenté dans le Terra Santa Museum.
It will be exhibited in the Terra Sancta Museum, and the scientific committee is particularly happy to have this partnership with David Catalunya, so that this organ can be better presented in the museum and also contribute to the knowledge of the musical history of the Middle Ages.
De l'histoire musicale du Moyen Âge.
This 5-year project, still in its preparatory phase, should lead to the complete reconstruction of this organ.
This will be a long process in order to learn to reconstruct the manufacturing techniques in order to be able to reproduce the pipes in the same way that they were done in the Middle Ages, in order to reproduce and reconstruct the full organ so that we can hear it again.
After the easing of the pandemic-related precautionary measures in the Holy Land, many believers gathered with great enthusiasm in Haifa to celebrate the feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. The feast is celebrated on the 16th of July to commemorate the apparition of the Virgin Mary to Saint Simone Stock, then Prior General of the Carmelite Order, during which the Virgin Mary gave him a scapular, a specific object made of fabric that is worn on the shoulders.
La Madonna, soprattutto con il dono dello scapolare.
The Virgin Mary, especially through the gift of the scapular, teaches us to remain under her protection and to live spiritual devotion, which leads us directly to achieve important results for our spiritual life and our human experience. we bring to Our Lady's feet the work, pain, and all the difficulties of daily life.
Quello che è il disagio della vita comune, noi lo portiamo ai piedi di Maria.
Today, I am touched by a personal experience. I lost my mother a short time ago. So today, I have more than one mother in heaven. And I always say to Our Lady, you are our mother, my mother, and my mother's mother. She is your daughter, and she is with you today in heaven.
The Mass was presided over by Brother Bruno Varriano, guardian of the Basilica of the Annunciation in Nazareth. It is a very ancient tradition, as is the Franciscan presence in Galilee and throughout the Holy Land, a tradition preserved especially in times of persecution and difficulty. We are the custodians of the place of Mary's yes, while the Carmelites are the custodians of Mount Carmel and of the gift received from the Virgin Mary. That is why it is a moment of great joy for everyone. Today we saw a wonderful, beautiful gathering of Christians who came from Nazareth, Haifa, and all over the Holy Land to pray to Our Lady on the Feast of Carmel. Just as Jesus said to John, "This is your mother," and to Our Lady, "This is your son," we too have become children of the Virgin Mary through this special recommendation on Jesus' part.
I came from Nazareth and I bring here with me all the intentions, the people who asked me to pray here. So I bring all those people with me here to our mother. She knows what her children need and we trust in her care.
Our Heavenly Mother, the Virgin Mary, gathers all her children without distinction. A message from this brotherhood between Franciscans and Carmelites. First of all, we are all consecrated and children of the Virgin Mary, and we want to witness that a mother always wants her children to be together. In addition to these local Franciscan and Carmelite communities, other groups of consecrated religious come to celebrate with us, together with the Blessed Mother, always united as brothers. The message of this year, besides the memory of the protection of our Mother and the invitation to hope, is the invitation to a greater openness of love towards Jesus Christ, the Son of Mary, our brother in faith. We ask God to return us to the Feast of the Carmel and also all the Marian feasts in the years to come with the gifts of health and well-being. It was here that on Thursday the 22nd of July the friars of the Custody of the Holy Land, together with a large group of religious and faithful present in Jerusalem, celebrated the feast dedicated to Mary Magdalene, defined as the Apostle of the Apostles, a liturgical memory already dear to Christian devotion and which Pope Francis has now elevated to the level of solemnity. The celebration was presided over by Brother Marcello Cicchinelli, Superior of the Convent of St. Saviour, together with the community of the Holy Sepulchre. In his homily, Brother Marcello emphasized the faithful presence of Mary Magdalene in the group of Jesus' disciples. She was one of the few people left at the foot of the cross. She experienced in a special way the liberating mercy of Jesus and chose to serve him with all her being.
Maria si trova con Gesù.
Mary is with Jesus, and they have a very important little dialogue and the mandate from Jesus to go and announce to the apostles the meeting with the risen Lord. The Church, and Pope Francis in particular, will take it up again when in 2016 he elevates the role of women in evangelization from a memorial to a feast, a very important role that they have always had, but that they wanted to accentuate in a special way with this celebration. And we love to think of these strong women.
Forte, chiamate così.
Brother Marcello pointed out that Mary Magdalene is a model of the presence of women in the life of the Church, and then recalled the precious and hidden service of many women who live and work in the Holy Land. Every day during the afternoon procession, which retraces the places of Christ's passion, death and resurrection, Here at the site of the event, Gregorian antiphons and hymns recall the risen Lord's meeting with Mary Magdalene. A delegation from the Real Madrid Foundation, led by its Vice President Iker Casillas, met on the 20th of July with the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, His Beatitude Monsignor met on the 20th of July with the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, His Beatitude Monsignor Pier Battista Pizzaballa. Together with the Patriarchate schools, for 9 years the Foundation has been promoting and Together with the Patriarchate schools, for 9 years the Foundation has been promoting the education and growth of children in the Holy Land through sport. On behalf of the Real Madrid Foundation, we are happy to be able to do our part and help, especially at this difficult time. We are very happy to be able to ensure that the children who live here have the opportunity to train and grow in a healthy way through sport.
The project helps firstly to create job opportunities for coaches and secondly to involve children from low-income families in extracurricular sports activities. This initiative really puts a lot of joy in the hearts of the children who participate in it. More than a sports project, it is a project that embodies the values of giving and love.
هو داعم مادي أو تربوي أو رياضي، هو مشروع بجسد قيم العطاء، المحبة.
The Patriarch expressed his thanks and appreciation to the Real Madrid Foundation, which supports thousands of students in the Patriarchate schools. Monsignor Pizzaballa then stressed the importance of sport in teaching mutual respect. With sport, he added, we experience victory, but also learn to accept defeat. Iker Casillas then sent a message to the young people and children of the Holy Land. They represent a great example, he said. These are very hard times and the young people have been an example to us all. I wish that they may continue to practice sport, in this case football, and that they can continue to grow up happy and meet people who will allow them to cultivate the practice of this wonderful sport. In addition to shooting the ball in goal and scoring, the Real Madrid Foundation achieves other important goals together with the children which it embraces in the Holy Land.
You are Real Madrid supporter, no? Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ, you are my life. Hallelujah, hallelujah.